Hello there. This is Marcio, and this is yet another episode of Coding with Agents or Culture Coding with Agents. All right, so usually what you see here it's the life of a developer builder. This old chunk of coal now on fire because of the situation, right? With the agents and you know what I'm talking about. All right, this whole thing that you see in front of there in the screen is a system that I'm using now, but this system was not necessary, not part of the business. So the context here, okay, it says um, a founder from Brazil drinking coffee every hour, code, coding, coding in a different way. Became something changed. Okay, very important. I for likely as you know as I started to move from a partial developer to embrace marketing and communications and to be a founder, and nowadays also involved in sales. As a developer, I was like I confess, I was struggling, suffering, and I think part of that struggle has to do with the prefrontal cortex, if you know what I mean. There's likely a bug in my system, how I think and how I capture information, where the visual things distract me. And I knew that since always. But with the state of the web, and because being a founder, generally trying to, put together pieces without investing as a real software engineer every day, like like one or two or three PhDs, right, in terms of time frame. Without doing that, doing in a fragmented way, searching the web, Stack Overflow for years and years, right? Then you get somebody mentions something, a comment there, an ad, display confusing, blinking things in the screen. And then you start to think that that's reality, right? That's where you live. That's the jungle, right? That's how the jungle looks. And you won't see what you're missing because you're ignorant of what you don't know, right? And that was, I one way that I explained the situation before the ChatGPT unfolded, what I call the portal. This portal comes and goes from time to time. Netscape through the Netscape days, we have seen a portal there, and there's certainly a portal here after OpenAI unlocking that, right? And then the situation before had to do with what I call in Portuguese is pisando em cacos, is walking on broken glass, every day. And when you put together what the author Dorothea Brande, 1936, wrote in her book "Wake Up and Leave," it's here, by the way, precious book. Wake Up and Leave. The success formula for success that works, by the way. And she gives a name to a phenomenon which is the will to fail. And generally we know, right, it has to do with what takes you into uh, a procrastinate. It's when you're in a situation at that point you cannot invest in becoming a learner again for a given area. And sometimes you got it because you got to do multiple things. How much you can be a learner in certain areas, right? But then what I didn't know, but that's normal, right? That's life, it happens. But then I had no idea that the state of the web was creating the confusion. That state of web pages and ads and blinking things and comments and error everywhere, like, and then the person gives the answer, the other, no, that's not the answer, and then the third person, "Ah, that's that guy that said it's not the answer, that actually was the answer, but I here's my," and then in ads again and again, and then you start every day hitting stones on your way, but you're not realizing that you brought the stones in front of you because you had a choice, right, to not visit those sources. But somehow, as a developer, I was there. But for the other areas, I didn't have the web, right, to attempt to view source and check what others are doing and get the quick answers. For the other areas, I had to learn, right, from the sources, I guess. And then, eventually you like, right, go back, return. So without having the bad interfaces, I was lucky to read high output management or Maslow on management, right? And those books, they save you tons of other books and materials, right? And I was lucky that I received the book from Barbara Minto, The Pyramid Principle, that changed my life. All right. Now, this session, I wanted it to be a session about coding with agents. But that's exactly what I was looking for, is not to do anything, because I really wanted to have this conversation archived here in this historical um, uh, directory or season, because this interface experience right now, right, maybe in the future is going to be complicated, but right now goes straight to the point and gets you even when you don't communicate properly, or you communicate in a different way. And all the systems, they came out like, and the visual effects applied to screencasting things, and right, it's like you're accessing a new world of iterations, right, where you can see and iterate. And we know, I've seen articles and people saying, yeah, the tool brings you that these tools, they bring us too many things unneeded and it's bringing troubles, just, but yeah, that's the same thing with people, right? It's like lack of management. But sometimes, you gotta iterate, right? It's like design thinking, right? You open, then you do your OKR meeting of every 15 days, and you rearrange the tops down goals after the bottoms up discoveries. That's it. There's nothing much we can do there, right? So that's it. I'm gonna close the session. There's no coding today, and this is culture coding with agents. Thank you very much. Have a good day.